Today we'll be making a juicy and tender pot roast. Let's get into this recipe. I've got a 2.5 pound pot roast cut into chunks. We're going to pat them dry, then turn them over and pat them dry on that side as well. Let's spray or rub on some oil, then season with salt, thyme, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, black pepper, and parsley. Pat on all of those seasonings. Then we're going to flip our roast over and repeat the process. After oiling and seasoning our meat, make sure to coat the sides as well. Then we can begin searing. Set a Dutch oven over medium-high heat. Lightly coat the bottom of our pot with some oil, and we're going to allow that to heat up. After 4 to 5 minutes, our pot should be nice and hot, so let's go ahead and set in our meat and allow that to sear for 2 to 3 minutes. Just make sure not to overcrowd the pan so we can get a nice crust. Now, flip our meat and repeat until all sides are seared. Once our roast is seared, remove them and set aside. To the same pan, we're going to lower the heat to a medium and saute half of a diced onion for 4 minutes or until they soften up a bit. After 4 minutes, let's stir in 5 minced garlic cloves for about 30 seconds or until they become fragrant. Then we can go ahead and stir in 2 tablespoons of tomato paste for 1 minute. After stirring in our tomato paste, let's deglaze our pot with 2 cups of beef broth and just make sure to scrape the bottom of the pot to get all of that flavor. Once we do that, we're going to pour in an entire packet of pot roast seasoning and just stir that in with our broth. Once everything is nicely combined, go ahead and preheat your oven to 400 degrees and we're going to go ahead and add our seared meat back into our pot. We're going to go ahead and turn off the heat, then just pour in 5 to 6 cups of beef broth, or enough to completely cover our meat. After pouring in our broth, let's drop in a few bay leaves. I use 4 since they're pretty small. Then we're going to place on our lids and bake our roast at 400 degrees for 1 hour. After 1 hour, remove our pot from the oven. Then we're going to drop in 4 medium chopped potatoes and 5 sliced carrots. Let's give that a quick mix. Cover our pot back up with our lid and bake our roast for 1.5 hours. After 1.5 hours, our pot roast is done. Let's remove our meat to a plate and begin shredding it. After shredding our roast, scoop it back into the broth to keep it juicy, and we can finally begin serving. I didn't have enough potatoes for mash, so I'm going to be plating with some white rice. Scoop on some of our roast, and our pot roast is done and ready to enjoy.